More than 36 million Americans have already voted in this election. In Maricopa County, Arizona, they are seeing about 100,000 ballots a day, every single one of them processed and scanned out of just one warehouse in Phoenix. NBC News political reporter Vaugn Hillyard has been at that Phoenix warehouse all day. Vaugn, Maricopa County is reporting a 75% spike in ballots compared to 2016. That is a whole lot of ballots. How are they dealing with that surge there?
Maricopa County to process these hundreds of thousands of ballots. You know, today alone, they said they received about 100,000 ballots, and it is this machinery essentially that helps verify the authenticity of the ballot and make sure that, you know, that every person's vote counts that actually sends in these mail-in ballots. I want to let you hear a little bit of my conversation that I had with the longtime president of Runbeck, Kevin Runbeck.
Once we get it from the post office, they come in trays like you see behind me here. We immediately ingest those envelopes into our high-speed sorter. What we're doing here is we're taking pictures of the front. We're recording who we received the ballot for, so they can send you a text message and say we received your ballot. We take that picture. We're going to upload those signatures for verification. If there's anything unusual about the packet, we're going to outsort that and send it to the county for further inspection. Once they send us back the file that says we've received, these signatures are good, we're going to sort it one more time and create an audit trail so we know exactly what ballot is where and that we've received and counted all of them. Those are then loaded into trucks and sent over to the county for opening and tabulation.
And at that warehouse, then those ballots are then loaded onto a truck and taken about 15 minutes away to which is where we're actually standing right now, Allison. And that is here at the Maricopa County Elections Department, where they are going ballot by ballot, not only doing that signature verification, but then actually counting those ballots. You know, unlike some states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, that are not counting their early ballots until the day of the election, they've begun 2 weeks early, beginning yesterday here, to begin to process what are literally going to be millions of ballots turned in early.
So, Vaugn, how about on the flip side? What can voters do to track their ballots, make sure their vote is counted, keep an eye on everything?
So you can actually get a text message sent to you once the ballot is received by that warehouse, then once your signature is verified, and then once your vote is actually counted here. Or you can go online and you can plug your name in, and you can find right up online here in Maricopa County at what point your vote has been counted, so you can ensure that your vote is counted here. This is a system in Arizona that has been running vote by mail since the early 90s. You know, back in 2018, 78% of voters before a pandemic voted by mail. In this primary last August, across the state, 88% of voters voted by mail. And it's for these counties, these 15 counties across the state, it's been very much about perfecting a system that they've had in place now for 2 decades.
Vaugn, with all of the mail-in votes that need to be counted, so many Americans are wondering whether we'll actually know who won the presidential election on Election Day, November 3rd. What do election officials there in Arizona think? What are they expecting?
Exactly. This is where this election night becomes interesting, because I mentioned Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania there, and you were just talking with Steve about some of those states. The hard part is that the states, the Republican legislators, have decided to not begin the counting of those mail-in ballots, and that process takes a while to run through those machines, and that's why we shouldn't expect the results out of those states in potentially days, even weeks. And that is where here in Arizona, they've actually learned from the past. You know, back in 2018, you know, there was that contentious U.S. Senate race between Democrat Kyrsten Sinema and Martha McSally. And on election night, Martha McSally, the Republican, was the one who had the lead. But 48 hours later, after the counting of those early ballots that trended towards the Democrat, ultimately Kyrsten Sinema took the lead and won that race. And that is why they've begun this counting process 2 weeks early, so that they are able to have most of those early ballots processed. And just a bit ago, I talked to an official at the Arizona Secretary of State's office, and that official told me that they anticipate having counted all of the early ballots in the state of Arizona up until Election Day. So we may know the results at 8 p.m., 1 hour after polls close, of all of the early ballots and those who voted in person on Election Day by 8 p.m. that very night. And the only ballots that we will not know the results of are those early ballots that were dropped off or received by the state on Election Day. So we may have more than 90% of results, Allison, here in the state of Arizona on election night. I'm not sure how many other states are going to be able to say that, but right now, elections officials, not only at the county level, but also at the state level, are confident that we should have a pretty good idea in most of the races around the state, including that U.S. Senate race and the White House race, those results on election night, Allison.
That's really impressive, Vaughn. If that happens, I think a lot of Americans are going to be impressed by the process there in Arizona. Thank you so much for showing us today exactly what goes on when they are getting so many mail-in ballots just in Maricopa County every day.
Thanks so much, my friend. 13 days.
The final presidential debate is one of the last best chances to shore up voter support. That's if it doesn't look anything like the last one. One voter in Wisconsin described the first debate as a clown show. Here's what some other Wisconsinites had to say.
The first debate almost felt like a joke. Like, I was like, this cannot be real. Like,
manufacturing went in a hole.
Excuse me, Chris. Wait.
Number two.
Chris.
Number three.
They said it would take. No, you were number two.
No.
Presidential debate. What a clown show.
He blew it.
It wasn't booming.
He blew it.
It wasn't booming. It was the weakest recovery since.
I'm not interested in seeing another debate, honestly.
When it comes to my decision to vote, I don't need a debate between the two presidential or vice presidential candidates. It would be based on research and my own personal experience.
I've seen some people on Facebook say it should be like Jeopardy. Give them history questions, important questions about how the government's run, and people will see the difference between the two candidates.
That's why I feel like I'm so undecided still, is I just don't understand what either of them truly plan to do at this point.
The debates or having national media tell us what to do or what is going on in the world, that isn't what we're relying on. We're relying on what we're doing and what we're seeing and what is going on right here in Kenosha.
I think we definitely need more debates, but I don't think it's going to happen because he knows he did bad and he's afraid to be shown up. He's got that ego going.
Trump or Biden?
Trump, yeah.
I think that if you're a smart individual and you do your research and not rely upon social media, I think you can come to the right decisions that you feel is best for you. And I think that's how all voting should be.
NBA star Shaquille O'Neal confessed earlier this month that he voted for the first time in his life in the 2020 election at age 48. He's just one of the first-time voters who have skipped past elections but are making their voices heard this year. Our NBC News social news gathering team spoke to some less famous first-timers to find out why they think it's so important to vote now.
I actually am somebody that never wanted to vote.
And I thought, well, my vote, one vote, it isn't going to matter at all.
I couldn't hold a intelligent conversation about politics with anyone.
I ran with the idea that nobody in office really cares about us.
I didn't really even pay attention to what was going on.
I didn't know anything about Donald Trump or anything about Joe Biden until just this last year. I'm a smart girl, but not educated, like I felt like I needed to be. So I just felt like I really had nothing to say.
I didn't vote in 2016, and at first I would always tell myself it didn't matter. You're not a part of the problem. But watching now, I was a part of the problem. I didn't stand up. I didn't register.
This year, I'm going to matter, and my vote does count, and I'm going to have a say in how I'm represented and my daughters for the next 4 years at least.
I really have just spent a lot of time, researching, and so now I have realized that my vote is my voice.
My son, who is heavily into politics, had really got me to start paying attention to it, start looking at things that are going on. And it got me questioning, wondering why is this the way it is? Why is that way? I decided I can't sit back and be quiet and be silent. I have to sign up. I have to vote because something's got to give.
You know, I have opinions that matter now. So I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I just have to find out the safest way to take my ballot wherever it needs to go.
I have an autoimmune disease, which has me on medication that has me on some immunosuppressants. And I made the decision that if push comes to shove and I have to risk my life to stand in line to vote, that the state of the world is worth me standing in line if I have to.
If we all just put in that one vote and just make our selection, just go in, all of us who think our opinions don't matter and our votes don't count, if we all think that way and nobody votes, there's not going to be any change.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.